Maybe we'll just start off too, like not really like talk about how we got to the 3D printing angle. That can be the other or the other video I was telling you about, like a no leads to a better yes sometimes. We can talk about that somewhere else. I think what we do right now is just start out like basically saying like, dude, the one thing I didn't think about with the 3D printing was the fact that like it's going to be reducing waste. You know, like
Oh, big time. It's
yeah.
big time
But like,
reducing waste.
I'll restart that. But
Oh, we
that
could
was
have used that
yeah.
one.
Okay. Okay.
We could have used that one. That was your natural rolling.
So what's crazy is, doing the 3D printing method for the sunglasses, but I didn't realize like the sustainability and the
Oh yeah.
reduction of waste it's gonna do. Like I wasn't even thinking that when we jumped into 3D printing.
Right.
Yeah, but I'm pumped that it actually is gonna help like the environment,
Oh
because
yeah,
here's the thing,
absolutely.
it's like it's gonna help us,
Big
but
time.
like when you really think about it, like especially with like mainly with manufacturing being in China, that's such a like it's such a pain in the ass for us in the US, right?
Yeah.
So like number one, their manufacturing process is injection molding. It's totally different. But to like basically make a pair of sunglasses, there's a lot of wasted material. Like you're cutting the plastic, you're throwing away all the extra, right? This
Right.
is way different because with
Right.
3D printing, you literally just use the material for the actual product.
That
Like
you
there's
need.
yeah, I
Yeah, what
mean,
you
of
need.
course there might be a
So,
little bit of waste,
but it's
but
definitely not at the scale that you would
no.
be dealing with if we were getting it, like you said, through molds in China.
Yeah.
Like the scale is way smaller compared to that.
Yeah, and I think the actual process of the printing is more accurate once you get that prototype
Right.
and
Right.
that design down.
Okay.
Because like before, when I was using China with Townie, for example,
Right.
dude, we went through so many pairs of sunglasses that were just unusable and unsellable,
Ah, just
right?
waste, right? That's like that fast fashion, because then it just goes into that waste and like, hey, so somebody will buy it. Like that
Yeah,
like throwaway style of like fashion is like honestly a big problem right now. And actually 3D printing is gonna help fight that as well.
yeah, for sure. And that's what's crazy too. Is like you had the production of the sunglasses, but
Right.
then if you're like putting a design on there, for example,
Okay.
dude, that could get ruined very easily, right? Like just
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
printing, like especially with that, we were printing like some very elaborate designs. So there was
Okay.
like they were like, this one doesn't work, throw it
Throw it
away.
away.
This one doesn't work,
Right.
throw it away.
How many misprints there were? Wow, you're right. I never thought about that.
And then just like you kind of mentioned it with the fast fashion, the inventory levels, like the amount you have to buy, right? So like say
Ah, to
us
get
as
their
a
business.
yeah, so us as a business, we have to buy X amount because of the minimum order. Because obviously they want a lot of,
Their bulk.
yeah, they're a quantity game, right?
Right,
Well,
right.
guess what? For us, that could not be beneficial, right? So like, it
Yeah.
doesn't matter if like our margins are good or not. Say we buy 1,000 sunglasses, but
Okay.
we're like, hey, we're only gonna really sell 500 of these because we know 200 of them are gonna be shit because they're gonna be throwaways. And then
Right.
it's like we can't sell them. Well, what do? I mean, again,
Yeah, that's a
waste, bro.
big waste,
Yeah,
big waste. So 3D printing is what I'm hearing is going to
yeah,
help fight waste, fast fashion,
yep,
transportation and shipping materials and getting it from
yes,
China to the States and through the borders and all those different things you got, all the hurdles you're going to have to go through.
totally.
I mean, that's a big plus. And 3D printing,
Yep.
especially 3D printing here in the States, is going to be a big deal for shifters going forward.
For sure. Just think about it. Like, I mean, if you're shipping like a phone or a pair of sunglasses that's actually produced, it takes up more space. It takes up
Right,
more packaging, right?
right.
But if
Yep.
you just have the materials here, yeah,
Okay.
we might have to import the materials, right?
Right,
But
right.
at the end of the day, it's like you're still reducing the carbon footprint by the
Big
shipping
time, big
costs.
time.
So
Oh, big
it's
time.
huge. And the other thing that like this is kind of unrelated to like
Right.
the sustainability aspect, but like the logistics of everything, it just costs more money in that regard and more time. And like China, for example, they have Chinese New Year in manufacturing. That's a big
Oh,
hurdle for people. So like
yeah,
you
because
have
it's
to
different.
think about you got to the timing
You
of
got to
it,
be on
bro.
their calendar. I mean,
Yeah,
you're you're doing logistics in multiple countries, and then you're
for
putting
sure.
your business in other people's hands in that matter in that regard.
Yep.
So this is much more hands on and in your face, and like and we get to go visit
Yeah,
these
for sure.
places that things are
Yep.
going to be getting made, and that's another part of our journey and
Yeah,
Shifter's journey. But that's awesome, man. The 3D printing sounds like it's going to be a
I
win-win-win-win.
think so,
One
man.
of those
Yeah,
rare
for sure. Yep.
win-win-win-win situations.
I, you said it too. The hands-on aspect of it for me, like, yeah, we can fly to China, we can look at everything, but honestly, like, just
Yeah.
being like, once we get a prototype and it's like, no, this isn't it. Instead of like the waste, because dude, the other thing is they have to make actual molds, right?
Right.
For injection molding. Like that's another cost. That's another material. That's another way it's
It's
reduced.
another person, another business, another group of things that you have to go through.
For sure, yeah, for sure. So it was kind of funny, like that they said no, and then we kind of figured it out with the 3D printing. But you know, it's going to be a work in progress too. But for
Yep.
me, as we move forward, and I know for you too, the sustainability aspect to me is very attractive.
Big time, big
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
We're outdoors people. I'm an outdoors
yeah,
person. I mean, reducing our carbon footprint and like our
yeah,
impact on the earth in that regard is such a big deal.
yeah,
I mean, we're at one of the most beautiful places here in Las Vegas.
yeah,
This is Lone Mountain, by the way. This is, if you're not a local, you probably have never heard of it. Great little trail, but you know, this is the environment that we live in, and that carbon footprint is such a big deal,
yeah,
man. Like it's huge, and going to China and going through their process of
yeah.
creating sunglasses seems like it's gonna go against our values as a business.
It is, yeah, for
Like big
sure.
time,
Yep. And the one of the values that like the wasted inventory is for
big time,
huge for me because
big time.
like I had it before with my previous business, and this the fact that we're going limited runs, you know, set
Yeah,
quantities that plays into our whole role, and then it's a very synergistic
yeah.
you know business
Business,
model.
right?
Yeah.
It all kind of leads into the next, and they all kind of feed off of each other for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, that's dope, man. Sustainability is the way to go, and I think that more people are gonna get behind the brand and the concept because of that.
Yeah,
We're
for
putting
sure.
out
Yeah.
much more limited runs, which lets us perfect the craft. I think a little bit more
Yep.
when you're going at it that way.
It allows us to adjust and not have a lot
Right.
of waste too, and like
The pivot. Yep,
and the
the pivot.
fastness of the pivot will be very
Yeah,
crucial,
it's
you know.
quick pivot, quick pivot.
So
No, I
yeah,
like
man.
that, man. That's awesome.
Yes,
Cool.
sir. Less is more.
Yep.